case HEDLEY Last updated 22:47, May 11, 2018. Western Australia Homicide Squad detectives are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of 7 people in Osmington, near Margaret River. The slaying of 7 people, including 4 children, in an apparent murder-suicide near Margaret River is Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Police were called to the property in Osmington, West Australia, about 5:15 a.m. local time, and found the bodies of 3 adults and 4 children. It is understood police found the bodies of Katrina Miles and her children, aged 8 to 13, after receiving a phone call from a male person about 5 a.m. local time on Friday. Katrina Miles with their 4 children, a mother and her 4 children are among the victims in a mass shooting that left 7 people dead on a property in rural Western Australia in an apparent murder-suicide. The property, a 30-acre hobby farm, is owned by Cinda and Peter Miles, who bought it in late 2014, but their involvement in the tragedy has not been confirmed. What Today reported, Katrina Miles was living with her parents. Read more. Australia's firearm arsenal at highest level since Port Arthur massacre. Port Arthur massacre anniversary, how shooting was an end and a beginning. No one is being sought for the killings. Cinda Miles lived at the rural property where 7 people were found dead. She owned the farm with Peter Miles, but their involvement in the shooting has not been confirmed. Cinda Miles has been a stalwart in the sustainability community, volunteering with the local transition network and leading recycling initiatives including Cinda's soft salvage. Peter Miles worked as a farmer and teacher and was formerly the manager of the Margaret River High School farm. The Sydney Morning Herald understands their 4 grandchildren were schooled at the sprawling homestead, among gardens full of fruit trees and flowering natives. Police at the Osmington Road property, the scene of Australia's worst mass shooting since the Port Arthur massacre in 1996. Members of the community said the couple were civic-minded and respected members of a happy, wonderful family. Police describe situation as horrific. While Police Commissioner Chris Dawson would not confirm exactly how the 7 died, but they were found with gunshot wounds. He said bodies of 2 adults were found outside a building on the property, and 5 bodies were found inside. Police are yet to formally identify any of the victims. Major crime officers are en route to the crime scene in Osmington, near Margaret River in Western Australia. While Police Commissioner Chris Dawson, police are responding to an horrific incident in Margaret River. Police were called to a rural property in Osmington and discovered the bodies of 4 children and 3 adults. More, https://t.co/mevbotpic.twitter.com/or5pgsdqlr, Sky News Australia, at Sky News Aust, May 11, 2018. It appears that gunshot wounds are there, but I don't want to go further than that, as 2 firearms have been located at the scene. He said the bodies of 2 adults were found outside a building on the property, and 5 bodies were found inside. Police at the property where an apparent mass shooting left 3 adults and 4 children dead near the Western Australia town of Margaret River. Specialist units from Perth, including the Homicide Squad and Forensic Crime Scene Unit, have been sent to the scene. The Commissioner would not speculate on the motive but said that, at this point, police had no concerns about wider public safety. He could not reveal any more about the identity of the people either, as police were still trying to locate next of kin, but he said police believed all 7 appeared to be residents of that property. Dawson said it was a significant tragedy, one he could only describe as horrific. This devastating tragedy will no doubt have a lasting impact on the families concerned, the communities and our staff in the southwest. The Commissioner said the police chaplain has been called to attend the scene of the tragedy to support the emergency services. Look, this is a horrific tragedy for any person involved, and clearly officers and other first responders attending these sorts of scenes. It is very tragic, Dawson said. So we have support with the police chaplain, other councillors that will also be in attendance. We will get on with our job regrettably, these tragedies do take their toll on everyone. He asked for anyone who knew anything about the incident to contact police. The rural property in Western Australia where the shooting is believed to have occurred. The loss of any life is tragic, but 4 children and 3 adults, this is a significant tragedy, he said. A community in shock. Margaret River Mail report. Nikki Lafevre said locals were falling apart with the news. The shooting happened at a rural property near Margaret River in Western Australia. Neighbour Rob Brown lives in the house across the road from the property where the shooting took place. He said detectives came to speak to him at 9:30 a.m. today, but he hadn't heard loud noises or any unusual sounds coming from the property overnight. "There was nothing much I could tell them," said the semi-retired farmer. Police had blocked the road in Osmington. Brown said he came down to the farm on weekends from Perth, so he didn't know the residents of the property very well. "I'd seen who I assume was the father out in a paddock one day, on a tractor. But I didn't have the opportunity to say hello." Forensic vans, police and detectives are still arriving at the property. Osmington is a tourist town lined by farmland and vineyards. The local newspaper reporter said Margaret River was currently in protection mode. "We're banding together," she said. "That's what Margaret River does." The president of the Shire of Augusta, Margaret River, has told how the tragic deaths at a property southwest of Perth have impacted upon everyone in the area. "It's sending shockwaves through the whole community. We're all linked in one way or another, every family," Shire President Pamela Townsend said. Townsend described Cinda Miles as a lovely, open-hearted, generous woman, embedded and active in the community, committed to the sustainability movement and very well known. Townsend said a fellow counsellor in a social work collective was mobilizing social work connections to begin supporting people in the community in every way possible. Picturesque tourist town away from the surf breaks and wineries the southwest region is renowned for, the vineyards give way to paddocks full of sheep and cattle. Winding tree-lined roads take tourists and locals through the undulating landscape to Osmington, east of Margaret River. It is now the scene of one of the worst Australian shooting crimes in recent memory. The crime scene is so extensive, Sinowa police expect to be at the site for up to 5 days. "It's a crime scene and we've got to figure out what happened," the region's top cop, Superintendent Mick Sutherland, told a media pack on Friday afternoon. Several locals were allowed to drive down Osmington Road past the cordoned-off scene and to their homes and places of work. One local, who wished not to be named, described the family at the center of the tragedy as quiet. "They kept to themselves, although I did try to reach out to them and make contact," he said. "This is just a quiet neck of the woods, who would believe it?" Sydney Morning